The nearly 31-year-old Japanese luxury automaker Infiniti is on shaky ground. The parent company Nissan is fighting for its life while also trying to save its alliance with Renault and Mitsubishi. Although Nissan is currently in the process of downsizing the product stack and production volume, little do we know about the future of the luxury division Infiniti. Will Infiniti return to its former glory and give Lexus and Acura a run for their money? Or will they be the next victim of an increasingly competitive auto market in a recessive economy? And in today's video, I'm going to dig into their declining sales numbers, discuss their current models, and give a glimpse of what to expect in the future from Infiniti. Welcome back to the channel, Luxurious Fleet. If you're new here, my name's Kirk. I cover Japanese autos. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell icon so you do not miss any of my upcoming coverage on all the vehicles who were born out of the land of the rising sun. First things first, Infiniti total US sales statistics by year 2012, about 30,000 units here. They crested in 2017 at a mighty 153,000, and it's been a slide ever since then, with 2020 going to be probably 2/3 of this 117 here, maybe 70, 80,000 units at best would be my guess. Now we're going to break down each model by year. The Infiniti Q60 is arguably their best looking vehicle. It is stunning. I like it in a lot of ways over the Lexus RC in terms of its looks and its 400 horsepower Type S or Red Sport variant. But looking here, so bottomed out in 2015, 2016. It got the redesign in 2017. It's a gorgeous car and it's just been in a free fall ever since then, with 2020 numbers probably going to be around 2,500, 3,000 units. Q50's been around for a while now, which was the successor to the G series. G35 is a legend. G37 is almost as legendary, and it's got big shoes to fill in, and it never quite filled those shoes. So 2015, 2016, it had some good years, and it's been a slide ever since, and I expect, again, 2020, this slope to continue. Hey guys, smash that like button. That helps me out immensely on the YouTube algorithm, and I feel like those likes might help Infiniti survive until their new wave of technology and product stack comes out. QX50, so this is their compact crossover. This is where things should start heating up for the brand. Everything is in crossovers nowadays. QX50 was a terrible vehicle up until recently, and then they had the redesign I believe for the 2018 model year. That's why you saw this huge spike here. I really do like the QX50's design. I think it's a beautiful vehicle. The problem with the QX50 is that CVT. I like the power of the VC turbo 4-cylinder in there, but gosh, there's nothing worse than at a stop sign, you press the gas pedal and you have this laggy rubber band effect on a luxury vehicle. It's Infiniti, come on. QX60, this is their mommy mobile. You could call it the soccer mom car. You see these things everywhere. I literally saw 3 today, not only on my way to Trader Joe's, but in the Trader Joe's parking lot. I saw 3 QX60s there, and they don't look bad. They're just kind of boring. They're not fun to drive. It's just a luxurious, it's a nice people hauler based off the Pathfinder. And this vehicle is gonna do, I would expect even in 2020 for them to sell maybe 35, 40,000 units, even though in 2019 they're at 43. And the QX80, this thing's just a beast. This is one of my favorite Infiniti models. It's like, I'd hate to call it like the poor man's LX 570. I like the V8 in this better than the LX 570s. It has a little bit more power, a little bit more torque. Of course, this doesn't have a CVT, but yeah, I expect sales volume to still be pretty good in 2020. Maybe not quite as high as 20,000 units, maybe it drops to 15, but that's still pretty good in the era of COVID. Looking at the overall sales so far this year, Q2 sales down 44% overall, year-to-date sales down about 34%. And I don't know what's gonna happen the rest of the year, no one does. I almost expect that 30% to kind of flatline the rest of the year, but it could go down. It definitely could go down. So Forbes had a great article at the end of June talking about Nissan Plus. Nissan Plus is Nissan's new initiative to, I guess, reform the Infiniti nameplate, the brand, and their strategy. Infiniti's new position in Nissan Plus is an upmarket Nissan, not a Mercedes or Lexus competitor. Infiniti's new management is convinced that the way forward is to share powertrains and platforms with Nissan. This means Infiniti's trademark rear-wheel drive coupe and sedans, epitomized by the Q50, 60, and rest in peace, the Q70, may eventually die off. Well, one of them's already dead, right? In their place would come a Nissan platform, possibly pulled from the Altima or the Maxima sedans, that accommodates the company's e-Power hybrid setup, which we'll talk more in a little bit about. Nissan COO Ashwani Gupta told Automotive News, "We will bring back Infiniti as Nissan Plus." So this guy, Payman Kargar, he is the new chairman for Infiniti, and he talks a lot with Auto News in this article, and we're gonna dive into the good bits of juicy information we have here, and we can extrapolate on what's coming next for Infiniti. Gosh. So he says future Infiniti models will be based on company platform large vehicles that will be shared with Nissan vehicles. The new platform will support gasoline, full electric, and hybrid powertrains for Infiniti. The hybrid powertrain will come in the form of a new high-power version of Nissan's e-Power setup that will differentiate Infiniti from other premium brands. If you're not familiar with e-Power, e-Power just debuted in the Nissan Kicks in Thailand and other parts of Asia, and it is a serial hybrid. The gasoline engine essentially just powers a battery pack, and the battery pack then, I'm very simplifying it, then the battery pack powers the front wheel, so it's fully electric driven with a gasoline engine acting as a generator for the system. Now, a higher power version would likely be in the form of the VC Turbo being the electric generator for that setup. The first Infiniti e-Power offering will arrive by around 2023. That's a little concerning, and the reason is that is 3 years from now. I almost said 2 because a lot of things are turning 21 at this point. What kind of position is Infiniti going to be in 3 years from now? Can they make it that long? Time will tell. Time will tell. The e-Power offerings, in my opinion, need to be here 1 to 2 years away from now. 3 years, it's a stretch because Lexus is going to be banging down the gates with their plug-in hybrids in a year from now, let alone 3 years from now. He said, with the current plan, we will have a very young lineup. I'm trying to make sure we don't go for a very young lineup and then afterward we suffer again from more aging models. So how do you avoid that? Well, you come out with a new model every year or so you don't have too many models that are long in the tooth. If you come out with 2 a year, that's pretty much your whole lineup. They might have about 6 or 7 vehicles in the future at this rate, but currently they only have 5. Some of those, like we said, the Q50, Q60 could be canceled, but they don't want to leave that gap there before the Q Inspiration series, which we'll talk about a little bit, follows up on. I saw the products, 4 years of coming products. They're absolutely great. The technology we're going to put in them is absolutely great, and it's really a luxury experience. We're not going to downsize the brand. Infiniti will begin to deliver that this year with the introduction of the QX55 coupe-styled crossover. That was teased about a year ago at this point. I think it was last August, the QX55. It's a more coupe-like, similar, I believe, what the X4 that BMW has. It's kind of like that coupe. Mercedes has theirs as well. That's them trying to go after that same sort of vehicle. While they look cool, they definitely reduce the practicality of the vehicle with that sloping roofline. If they can stuff the 3-liter turbo or twin turbo versions of that engine that we see in like the red sports of 300 to 400 horsepower in a QX55, that thing's going to get some massive attention as long as they don't put a CVT with it. But more than likely, they're just going to keep the VC turbo in it with the CVT, and then that just kills all the excitement of the QX55. No matter how good it looks, CVT with a very awesome high-power flexible turbo 4 is, it's dead in the water. Then he says the real turning point comes in 2021 with the launch of the redesigned QX60 midsize crossover and its Nissan brand stablemate, the Pathfinder. So that's just a year from now. They need a QX60. Like I said, that thing sells a ton for them. That's probably their highest volume car at this point, and it's their best shot, in my opinion, to be able to survive these dark times in the automotive industry. But we're still waiting a year for that to come out. The rest of the article talks about all sorts of issues with money, on how their incentives are way too high just to move product, etc., etc. So what else other than the QX55 and the QX60? with the threats of them talking about killing off the Q50 and the Q60 sedan and coupe, I don't know what's next. We have the Q Inspiration Series concept that came out 2 or 3 years ago. It's beautiful. It looks like a luxury version of a Tesla in some ways. I know Tesla is like a luxury, but their cars are kind of plain looking. The Infiniti Q Inspiration Series actually had some really good styling. It definitely looked like an electric car, but in the press release of that vehicle, they talked about the VC Turbo. The new chairman was talking about Kargar. He says that everything's going to have a gasoline, it's going to have an e-power as well as electric. So I do think that is the styling they're going for in the Q Inspiration Series, and it definitely needs to be electric at the minimum with the e-power. But money's not in sedans anymore, or definitely not coupes, as we saw with the Q60 sales. Money is in the crossovers. So the QX Inspiration is what they need to focus on, bring that to life in some shape or form with, like I said, turbo, e-power, and full electric. And Kargar said that how Infiniti differentiates himself is not going to be with the VC Turbo or with a full electric powertrain. He says it's going to be the e-power, a high power output of the e-power. And it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. Will it have some plug-in functionality to it? What kind of power is that high power talking about? Are we talking 400 horsepower to replace that twin turbo V6 that is in the red sports that we have? It's hard to say. They also need to make their interiors better. I get so wrapped up in powertrains because powertrains get me the most excited, but interior quality is something that they need to overhaul in the Infiniti lineup. They're super outdated. They don't change the technology very much. I feel like they've had the same 360 camera for like 15 years now. And they need to have Nissan's ProPilot take over the Infiniti lineup, and we haven't seen that yet. What do you guys think Nissan/Infiniti needs to do to revitalize the brand? Is their drawn out product release going to be too late? Or do you think they're going to be able to hold on in the next 2 to 3 years before any exciting e-power variants come out to bring excitement to the brand? The QX55, while it'd be cool, it gets people talking about Infiniti at least for 2020. I'm not getting my hopes up for it, especially if they stick with a CVT. What about the QX60? That is coming out next year. If they execute well on that vehicle, then it can keep Infiniti's head above water until their e-power, new platform cars and SUVs can come out and lead them into a potentially new era and bring them back to be competitive like with the Lexus and the Mercedes and the BMWs that they used to in the mid-2000s. Well guys, I don't know what else to say. Head over to my Amazon page where you can check out model cars. That helps the channel out just a teensy bit. And I'll check you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching this video about Infiniti. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.